Hello everyone, this is KJ. Welcome back to No Man's Sky Waypoint. This is our very first video of Waypoint. We'll be talking about the update. It's probably going to take us more than like one brief video to talk about the update. But the first thing we're going to cover is this new UI for starting a new game. So over here is custom game, where you can set what kind of a game you want to play. You can change the mode. And those are just presets that you can go off of. So if you want a normal mode, this is what the presets are for that. And then you can change them as you decide how you want to take your play. Save deleted and normal doesn't make any sense, but as you can see, I gotta get rid of that hold to change thing. The preset for permadeath is right here, and this is what the normal preset for permadeath would be. And then you can change that if you want to. You can change what your death consequences are. You can change how much energy you have with your jetpack and, movement modules. And the only thing that you can't do with permadeath is select these easy mode items. And you can turn off the tutorial if you want to. And down on reputation and standing, you can change your reputation gain, how fast you gain those points. All right. And then, as I said before, all the rest of these are presets, and you can change them as you want to. We don't have an expedition yet. That'll be to come. On the UI for the save game, it tells you where your game is at, if you've saved and exited the game since the update. I have not been on these other saves since the update, so we only know where this guy is. And we'll go ahead and enter that game now. This is just sort of the picking up where you left off bit. Although I have done a little bit to the ship. I didn't have any guns. So I did have to do a little bit to the ship. And I am just about completely broke from working on the ship. So I'm going to have to go and get some money before we continue on. I was worried this load screen was going to take a while. I've noticed on other people's playthroughs that loading up does take a minute. And there's that little bit of freeze read bit. Right now, if we hit the escape key on PC, that will take us to the options menu. And we can go into difficulty settings from here as well. So this normal mode save, which is ported from an expedition save, has these abilities. We cannot change this to a save deleted type of permadeath. I don't think. Cannot select permadeath after game is started, but you can change all these other things. Except for changing things to permadeath. And once again, we can't change to restricted or harsh inventory stack limits. You can't change stack limits after you started a save in normal mode. It won't let me do permadeath settings. But we can change a couple of things. And what would I want to change? Natural resources. Mining and gathering materials such as minerals, vegetation, and animal products is essential for surviving while exploring. The setting scales the abundance of natural resources and how quickly they are gathered. That's an interesting one. If you've been grinding already and you've got, a save with, billions of supplies on it, that's interesting. The ability for infinite sprinting. Sprinting places additional drain on the exosuit's life support system. Relaxed sprinting removes this life support cost, but still requires occasional short breaks to recharge, and infinite sprinting removes all restrictions and allows players to sprint forever. That's totally cool. Recharge rate, let's go ahead and change that to very fast for the scanner, just because we want to take advantage of the scanner being better. We already have all the upgrades on the scanner that we can get. We can improve them by getting better ones. But as far as the speed goes, the only improvement for that, as far as I know, is about 50%-ish. Damage levels, we'll leave this alone for right now. You can lower this damage level to no damage, which means you could fight the sentinels all day long and never get hurt. So that might only be, it says and combat situations. High hazardous environment, combat situations, or high-speed impact with the ground may all damage the exosuit or starship. That would take that damage away. Technology damage, having none set before you go through a galactic core, radical idea. And then you can put it back to wherever you had it before after you get through the core. And then death consequences, not sure what the consequences are for normal mode. I don't think that they're terrible. Crafting and item settings. So I feel like this is kind of game sanctioned duping. Free fuel, free crafting, free purchases, goods availability is part of the trade system, inventory stack limits. Again, we can't change that after we've started a save. Combat settings, here's where you can really go after the sentinels. You can weaken them or you can strengthen them. You can stop the predators. On foot and space combat. On foot, while exploring on foot, explorers may be confronted by hostile forces such as sentinels and alien monsters. This setting adjusts the frequency of such hostile encounters. So it's like going to an aggressive sentinel planet, and if you select none, well, minimal, let me put it that way, then you'll get less sentinels, and hostile you'll get more. I don't think that that affects the actual planet. I'm not sure. We'll have to check that out later. Inventory transfer range. I've been debating this for 3 hours before I started this. From the moment that I read this, do we want to be able to transfer inventory across the entire planet to our starship? Or do we want to have to be close to the ship, plus we have that that technology that allows us to transfer a little bit further? I don't know. Hyperdrive system access. Hyperdrives allow explorers to warp between star systems. Yellow systems may be reached freely, but other system classes require specialist drives to reach. This setting toggles whether the hyperdrive can warp to red, green, and blue star systems without the requirement for specialist warp technology. So no stellar technology required, stellar technology required. Base power, this one is awesome. This is the ability to build without wires. So advanced base technology, such as hydroponic trays for growing crops, requires wiring up to power modules to run. The setting toggles the requirement to build generators and power networks. So it basically turns on the creative mode ability to turn your power on without wiring up to power. And so that's really cool, especially when you're building. If you're building the building and all the technology first, then you don't have to wire everything in succession. You can build the whole thing. And then if you decide you want to wire, or you've built in specialist tubing or caves or whatever for wiring, then you can do the wiring and turn it back on. And reputation and standing, I showed that a little bit. Picking up reputation and standing is already fairly easy in normal mode. but you can increase that or decrease that speed. And then if you do make changes, don't forget to apply difficulty changings. And then we'll go on to the next thing. Check in your network when you first load in after a save to make sure that PvP is where you want it to be and that your multiplayer is where you want it to be. There are some bugs. It's a brand new update. And so getting really deeply into what we can do with a new update is kind of going to have to wait a week or two because we really need time for those experimental builds to go. And then the huge news for the options menu is, of course, being able to rename your save. And as we all know, this save's called After Polestar. And then we can accept, and our save is named, but we do need to do a restore point type save. All right, let's talk about the saves. So this is kind of a little bit frustrating, but at the same time, it's probably going to save a lot of people a lot of grief. The save data now collects constantly. A auto save is an automatic ongoing save. It picks up the save every couple of minutes. It doesn't disturb the gameplay as far as anyone can see. In a lot of games that have autosave enabled, you'll notice a moment of lag or stutter while the game is gathering data and saving. No Man's Sky, Hello Games, kudos to you for figuring out a way to avoid that. On smaller computers and possibly on PS4, you might notice it. But so far, I haven't noticed an autosave happening at all. Restore point is all manual saves, region markers, dropping and claiming a base computer, getting in and out of your starship. Those all create this hard save, what we used to call a hard save. That's a restore point save. And you'll notice as time goes by, I'll just run around for a couple of seconds here. See if I actually got the suit slot. I think I did. Yeah, I did. And I don't think you have anything I need. Unless you have a pulse spitter. That would be something I need. There we go. Alright, let's look at that again. Back down here on saves, you can see that auto save was at 10:23, which is right now. The restore point save when I got in and out of my ship was 2 minutes ago. So this is just like consistent. I don't know if it's every minute or every 2 minutes, but we didn't notice a thing when it was happening. So I think one of the biggest things that we're going to notice on our particular save is going to be crafting and the catalog. So the first thing I want to show you is quickly I want to show you the catalog, and we'll go down to this. Galileo is the name of where you're at with your regular milestones. Okay, so if you click on catalog, you'll see pin metal. You can pick a metal. Zoology, there's that metal. Guidance, sort of space exploration, and you can pin that metal. There we go, milestone pinned. That's pretty cool. And we'll go back in there. And then we're going to look at words collected, 97 of 100 for the next level. If we go into GEC, it'll say words learnt over here, and we should be able to see this. Collected knowledge. Language records, there we go. So here are the GEC words that you can learn. You can see I have a few to go. And quite funny, they've got little symbols, little portal glyph symbols on them. I wouldn't worry about that too much. Um, but it shows you the word that you learned, Gek word, and it says translated Gek language. The Gek word safer, which is rendered by the exosuit's translation computer as and. The translator's calculated language models are based upon user-collected data. Translation is not to be relied on in life or death situations, as if. And we can go to Viking language records, and here's the Viking word jua, which is rendered by the exosuit's translation computer as B. Once again, translators' calculated language models are based on user-collected data, not to be relied on in life or death situations. Then you have journey records, and we'll go to the journey because I haven't started return to previous page. I haven't started Dreams of the Deep very much, although I did get the signal, and it tells us what that signal read, and that I went to the transmission tower and got that aeration membrane, and you can read what that translated to. And portal glyphs, we have them all because we got them from Polestar. And the words of the Atlas, these are the ones that we have. That's how many more we can learn. So it's not like as many as before or what we thought it would be. But at least we can see the total truth of it, you know, how many there actually are. Now, I know that there's a lot more words, and they may not have finished this yet. And when I logged in, I was thinking, oh my God, they put 750 of these here. They didn't. They didn't. And here's some other history, abandoned buildings. So these are the ones that I've been to. Just this one, the Crimson Orb, is the only one I've been to. And we'll go back to Crash Freighters. Data stamp 1942.1, 2011.8, 1984.6, and 1978.5. Those are not like in order, dude. Data stamps. Weirdness. At any rate, that's what I've done with that. And so you can see, here's the unknown graves. And for some reason, it's kind of only showing a little bit right now. I think they have a lot more to do. If you look in, let's go back to that. If you look in materials and items, that's where your regular catalog is. So that's pretty cool. And if we look under cooking, it now shows you, or it should show you the recipe. Oh, it has to be something that's cooked though. Have I cooked anything? There's some baked eggs. Milk. You know, I saw this earlier, and it showed what you needed. I don't know. At any rate, that's not the crafting that I was talking about. The crafting I'm talking about, oh, I gotta get rid of all this stuff. That's my next thing. So if we go into a blank spot and we pick craft product, and we go down to, let's say, stasis device, because it's the most impressive one, and we look at the instructions on the UI. It tells you about the stasis device and the required parts. But down at the bottom, it says view craft steps. So we now have a craft tree. I've made everything except for auronium. This is cut off here. That needs to be fixed. But if I had living glass available, if I had lubricant and glass, it would tell me that I could make the living glass, and then I could build it, obviously on the mouse with the right mouse button. If I have insufficient resources, I can hit X and pin that recipe. But it tells you all the things that you need, like in a little family tree. Oh boy, we have a huge mess in the inventory, and we will pick that up on the next episode. Let me just quickly see. Milestone complete. You can select a new milestone from the catalog. Okay. If I hover over it, can I escape? Nope. I'll work out how to get rid of that. I have spent all the money that I had on upgrading the technology slots for the ship. As you can see, I got actually pretty far with it because I only had this, like everybody else. And then I've added these, but I need way more money to do that. And I have been adding these as I go station to station. I only need 3 more of them. And then we can start putting things in, putting things back in, really. With these archive technology, they're a little bit more difficult to read and to deal with. If you look really closely, it says upgrade for the radiation protection. So we're just going to pick that up like we normally would, and then we can put it in. And then we have life support, toxic protection. We grab that and put it in. Thermal protection is another one of those. Life support. These are technologies. The technology was put into this package, which means that you can transfer this to a friend. So you can build the personal refiner and give it to a friend now, instead of them having to go and learn the technology to do that, or you can just install it. We'll install it. Hazmat Gauntlet, we'll install that one as well. These are things that were in the front of our inventory before. And let's see, that's a Sentinel modification for something. Exosuit. Oh yeah, that's the exosuit thing that does that. That must be the same one. And do we do not have synergy with that. Do we have with that? Nope. So that's, oh, was it shield? Nope. So they just have synergy with themselves, but those are the Sentinel upgrades that you get from breaking down salvage glass. As you can see, it tells you how many of an item you can hold. So I've got 3 of 40 wiring looms there. This is a cargo bulkhead. I can carry 30 in one slot. I can also stack my scanners into one slot. It says 6 because that's how many are there. And I'd already stacked the bottom one, I guess. So I've got 6 scanners there. What was another thing? There's changes to the actual appearance of some items. Like oxygen now has this funky little symbol. And navigation data, it might be a little bit hard for me to find. It's around here somewhere. Factory override. Navigation data, there it is right there. You see that funny symbol? We have 36 of 40 that we can carry. So, yeah, that's a new symbol right there. And here is another stack of navigation data, 40 of 40. So we have 76 total. We also have a couple of Sentinel boundary maps. We're definitely going to be using that. We'll make some nifty alterations, some nifty alterations to our ability to protect and defend ourselves, and then we're going to go farm some Sentinels like crazy to get nanites. And for cash, well, they completely nerfed activated indium. I am still going to go collect my activated indium because I have a significant amount of it, but it is a terrible price. And I can't remember at the moment what the price of a stasis device is. It's still 15.6 million, so that's good, because if you reduce the price of a stasis device, nobody's going to make them because they are so complex. There's so many steps. You know, obviously we looked at that. All of these steps are required. The natural resources of radon, sulfurine, and nitrogen are a little bit more difficult to get. You need sulfurine and nitrogen twice, and you need radon. I think it's just once. You need multiple amounts of condensed carbon, obviously. But from here you can see, here's enriched carbon here, here's enriched carbon here. So the different parts take the same items to make in different orders. So it's, it's definitely very, very helpful to have this thing. It even tells you how much you need. 50 for this, 50 for this, etc. At any rate, this has gone on way longer than I intended it to. Get in there and play the new game. If you are having difficulties, just remember to, before you leave, check and make sure that you've got a gun on your ship. Check and make sure that your hazard protection is going. You may have to get slots just the same way as always going station to station and buying slots or picking up the cargo slot maps and doing it with the beacon. All right, you guys, I want to thank you all so much for coming along. We'll see you on the next full episode of No Man's Sky Waypoint after Polestar. That's a lot of words. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye for now.